Hey, what's up, guys? Antonio Neves here. I'm the founder of Think Action, where it's all about transforming potential into exceptional performance. And right now, I'm with a dude who knows about transforming potential into exceptional performance. This right here is Bassam Tarazi. He's the founder of Colipera. He also happens to be, along with me, we're co-founders of the Ignition Lab. But this interview has nothing to do with that. This interview right here is all about Bassam's brand new ebook, The Accountability Effect. The book Your Excuses Don't Want You to Read, Part 2. So first, Bassam, let's get into Part 1, The Accountability Effect. The book Your Excuses Don't Want You to Read, that was all about the you. What was the feedback that you got from your community from that book?
I think the feedback from Part 1 was thank you. It was mostly, I kind of wrote in an unapologetic, just direct way. I stripped down all the layers of the onion to get back all past the excuses we always give ourselves to why we can't do something, right? It's the book Your Excuses Don't Want You to Read. So I attacked the idea of nobody asked you who you want to be when you grow up. They always asked you what you want to be. But who we are is really what's important. When we leave a room, what do people say about us, right? I mean, that's our legacy. That's the kind of part of the story we want to tell. So I think I approach this idea of goal setting in a different way and ask people to try to find out who is it that they want to be and how to get there. So Part 1 of the book was about you, was about how to get you to be accountable for yourself in your life.
Yeah, and if you haven't read this book yet, again, it's for free. It's one of those books that it's a loving smack in the face. Like it's a loving smack in the face. Like all of a sudden you're like, whoa, I needed to hear this. It's something that sometimes people who are really close to you, they can't say to you because you're too close, and you'll give them the stiff arm. But the way, Bassam, you went about it, you really shared it, I think, in a loving way, but also to get people to get off their butts, stop making excuses, and take action. Before we talk about Part 2 of the Accountability Effect, tell me a little bit about accountability for you, why it's important, and has Bassam Tarazi, the master goal setter when it comes to accountability, ever struggled with accountability?
Yeah, both wonderful questions. In my path in life, I've kind of tried some different things and tinkered and failed, by definition of what society would say. But I would always, at the end of the day, feel like I was accountable for my own happiness. And I took a lot of pride in making intentional choices. And that's the thing I share a lot with my clients and my readers. It's the idea that at the end of the day, I really don't want to seek a title, or I want to be CEO, or to have this much money in the bank. I want to be able to look back on my days and say I lived them intentionally, right? No one wants to feel like, man, 2 years just went by. What just happened? That feeling makes me sick to the stomach. It's saying, wait, we can be more present. We can, not feel like, well, life had me do it this way. I'm unlucky, and what else can I do? So sure, I try my best to live an intentional life every day, and in that means I have to be accountable for those things. I have struggled with accountability before. It's times where I like to say when there's too much uncertainty in one's life, when there's a lot of things going on where you don't know what's going to happen, and you're trying a few different projects, or you left one job and you're going to another one, it's a little bit uncomfortable. So although I'm taking accountability when things don't go my way, and I need to rationalize thought before I go to bed at night, sure, I like to say, well, that person was a little unfair to me, or, it wasn't my fault today, et cetera, et cetera. So it does creep in, but I try to always check back with myself and say, hey, did I present myself, and did I present my words and my thoughts and my feelings as best as I could today? And if not, then that's shame on me, And if I did, and things didn't turn out the way I hoped them to, that's okay, because I still lived it intentionally. So I try to make every decision the right decision, no matter what happens on the back end.
I like that. Make every decision the right decision. Now the first part of the accountability effect was about the you. The second part of the accountability effect is about the we. Can you expand on the we aspect of that?
Sure thing. We sometimes think we get in this delusional thinking where we imagine it's us versus the world, right? I'm accountable for me, and I'm going to stiff arm everybody out of my way. Nobody, it doesn't matter who's in my way. It's really not true. Yeah, sure, we have an I existence and thoughts and things we want in our life, but that life is lived amongst we. It's amongst the us. We're amongst the communities, and who wants to live a life on their own on an island without sharing things with anybody else? For me, an existence isn't an existence if it's not a shared existence. So The part 2 of the book about us goes after a little bit more of the behavioral psychology of how is it that we respond to group pressures, to the social cure, to peer pressures, to the herd mentality, to you talk about the allies of glory and thieves of ambition. How do we handle who we respect? Because the number one thing we want in life is to be respected by our peers, and that's really what part 2 is about. Sure, you can have your intentional goal and what you want to do, but in the end, you hope it's received with respect from the people around you. So part 2 is the idea of, okay, you've got yourself, you've got the kind of who you want to be, but it's how then do you surround yourself with community and the people around you to better yourself and to better them in the same turn.
Let's briefly take that next level. Something you talk about a lot in your posts and also on your site is the concept of together be better. My community always knows that I like to say, who makes you better?
Right.
Bassam, what's the benefit when you partner up with people to get things done? So people always think they can go to the gym by themselves and get great results. People pay you and I a decent amount of coin for one-on-one coaching to help them get results in their career. So talk a little bit about the benefit of when you partner with someone, and maybe someone who's not necessarily like your close dear friend, to help you get accountable and accomplish some things that are important to you.
Right. I think it's it's 2 or 3-fold. The first one, and I think the most clear, and I think you can understand this, it's the idea we need to get out of our own bubble sometimes. Sometimes it's just we live in this imaginary world where we think this is reality, and yet when you share certain things with other people and you get feedback and you get input from the outside world, I mean, you understand that if I'm building a product or whatever I'm doing, I'm hoping that product has an effect on people around me. So I must become vulnerable, and that's really the whole kind of idea behind the idea of together be better. It's the idea that I have to pay my vulnerability tax. So if you're going to the gym, and I know you're going to the gym at 7 in the morning, and you come knock on my door, I'm not going to tell you I'm not going, right? Because it matters what you think of me. It matters your opinion of me, because that is part of my tribe. That is part of my group. And thirdly, it's this idea that we get a bigger rise out of helping people than we do getting help, right? I mean, we're part of this shared story, but competence, the idea of competence, we love relatedness. We love to be part of a tribe and a group. We love to be autonomous, but we love to be competent as well. We love to be able to share our skills and the things we put years and took loans out and spent a lot of money learning, that when somebody is in need of help, it feels wonderful offering them that help. And in turn, not that you do it for that reason, but in turn, one day that help comes back to you in a way that you never really saw.
I didn't anticipate going here, but I think I should. I want to say congratulations to you. If you guys are familiar with Bassam's blog at Colipera.com, you guys will know that Bassam recently left his 9-to-5 that he had for a long time. But besides the congratulations on that, Bassam, is a lot of people think that because they have a 9-to-5, they can't do anything else. But what you're an expert at is helping people who have 9-to-5s kick butt, and what you say, the 5 to 9. So people are making excuses. I have a job, I'm tired, I don't have time to work on what's most important. How did you go about having a 9-to-5 and still found your company Colipera, and still do coaching sessions, and still do the film festival that you created, and still, I can keep going on and on. So people who don't have time, what do you say to them?
They do have time. There's time if you want there to be time. Now, you might not have 7 hours a day for just pure creation, but it's the idea we get back to the statement, the intentional living, that, I did have a 9-to-5, and it was something I had debt and I had things I needed to pay back. It was my reality and it was okay. But I said, my free time is my free time, and I get to choose what I want to do with that. I got my MBA while I was working, and my MBA was taken on my own time, at my own pace, however fast I wanted to do it. And I did something what I call shrink the change. I think it's this idea that we think, oh, what good is 30 minutes at night of writing? What good is 45 minutes of researching? Well, that's 30 minutes today. You add that up, that's 2.5 hours in a week if you do 30 minutes a day. I broke down my MBA into Wednesdays and Saturdays. So it's this idea of figuring out where you want to go and why you want to get there, and trying not to trip over steps L, M, N, and O, and just focus on, how do I get to step B? If I want to write this epic, this novel, I don't write a novel in one sitting, right? You need to write a little bit here, 15 minutes here, 20 minutes here. So I learned to value the 15, the 20, the 30 minutes of creation time, of just thinking things through. And those, little by little, they added up.
I know there's no short answer to this, but it's my last question for you. You talk about this in both parts of the accountability effect, but what you're talking about right there, Bassam, whether it's spending 30 minutes in the evening or just 15 minutes in the morning before work to meditate or write is commitment and being accountable. So is there a small shift or something that you can do to be more accountable to yourself? Is it a matter of making sure after work, instead of going home, you actually go to the library or to some space where you co-work with someone? How can you become more accountable and really commit to what you say you want to do?
Right. I think it's twofold. You and I talk about the whys behind a lot of things. Famous book called Start With Why by Simon Sinek. He says people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. So I think there's sometimes a lot of people jump into a goal far too quickly, and they realize that they don't have the energy, they don't have the staying power to end up staying with it. So first, I would say figure out why you want to do whatever you want to do. But then beyond that, all you can control is what you do today. You can't control what you do tomorrow or the day after. So I write down 3 things I need to get done today, right? And it's this idea of priming the pump, of you know, allowing action triggers to come in my life that I don't say right when I get home from my job, oh, should I go running or should I lay on the couch? Should I go running or should I lay on the couch? Running couch, running couch. That's a coin that drops either way, and you're not in control of that. So I ask people to say, when you wake up in the morning or before you go to bed at night, what is it that you would like to get done the next day in a solvable manner? If you need to go pick up your dry cleaning, then pick up your damn dry cleaning. If you have to go to the store, go to the store. If you have to call your mother back, call your mother back. But don't go through a day and say, God, I don't know what happened today. I didn't get anything done. You got a lot done, but you didn't feel like you got a lot done because you didn't plan on getting anything done in the first place. So it all comes back to having intentional motives for each day. And yes, a lot of that is maybe committing to somebody else. You know, hey, Antonio, I'm going to give you this. I want to drop this off. You know, in a week, I'm going to present you with this. So it's all about the short-term goal, I think, and not getting lost in where you're going to be in 6 months or 1 year.
The short-term goal, being committed. And by the way, Bassam and I don't know what day you're going to watch this, but this is Saturday morning for Bassam and I right now.
That's true.
Saturday morning for Bassam in New York City, for me here in Santa Monica, California. There's a lot of different things that we could be doing, but we blocked out this portion of our Saturday, which for many is their day off, to rock this interview. So Bassam, thank you so much for taking time to do this interview. For you guys, listen, you can go to colipera.com. The information is right below. Make sure you download not just the first version of the Accountability Effect, but part 2 as well. You won't be disappointed. Seth Godin, when the first version came out, let the whole world know about it. It's a great piece of, I'm going to call it a piece of art. So thank you for writing it, Bassam.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, dog. We'll talk soon, homie.
All right. Thanks for having me. And to everybody watching this, just continue working hard, be intentional, and still have some fun along the way, too.
Gotta have fun. Take care.
All right. Ciao.